Lisa. I am here today with a photo of me as a child for a challenge. Actually, I'm doing this for a challenge, and I'm also doing it for Load. One of the prompts was to talk about your relationship with Santa Claus, and I'm a little behind on getting these done, but I still wanted to scrap this page, and this is, for a change, something that I have a photo of from my childhood, and actually the photo is in excellent condition. It had been stored in this, which I'm sure is not acid-free, but it was inside a box, and so it hadn't been exposed to light, so it's in great shape. Well, actually, I can see a few little dots there, but I will be scanning this photo to make sure that it gets saved that way also. I went back through my Christmas stuff. I don't have a lot of Christmas paper, but I keep it, since I don't have a lot, I keep it in one place, and I found a few papers that I thought would work well. I have this sketch that I used earlier in the year for another layout. I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to have my photo over on the left side, and my papers, I used washi tape on that one. This time I'm going to do some paper strips. I kind of liked this one with the packages, but now that I'm looking at it, it looks a little too simple or faded. I don't know. There's something about it I'm not that crazy about. So I'm going to use some of these papers in a vertical and a horizontal row, but I may, instead of the package strip, I may maybe just use the other side of this, and I may add a little package. I may make up some little packages with a bow on the top or something like that. I can make up an embellishment fairly easily. I also looked at the other Christmassy things that I had. I have the stamped image of the elf and all, and he's really cute, but he's about the same size as the photo, so I think he would compete. I don't have any stamps of Santa Claus, I know that, but I do have this little Santa die cut that was in there, so I might use that. And I've got some stencils out here. I've pretty much decided on the round one to go behind my photo. I'm going to need to put it on some other paper because the challenge that I'm doing this for was to use your most recently purchased mist. I bought this one called Rudolph, which is very appropriate, as a part of a Peachy Cheap purchase a few weeks ago, and that's my most recent mist. So I'm going to be doing some misting and getting some papers and things together on this, and I do need to pick out some for the title. I'll probably do some misting on these title letters as well, and get a little bit more use out of my mist. I felt like this stencil needed something to rest on besides just regular cardstock, so I looked at a couple of different designer papers. So a little bit of the backing will show through the mist. However, the red is a pretty dominant color, and a very saturated color, I should say. And in the reality, not a lot showed through. I could have just used cardstock for this. But it doesn't matter. It's misted on, and I'm cutting it out with a circle cutter. And then I can place that behind my photo and start to assemble the rest of my papers. I did a fairly wide strip there with the ornaments. I wasn't sure if I wanted all three of those rows, but that's what I got for now. I can always trim it down. The problem I had, though, up at the top was I wasn't really happy with the photo and the circle. It just didn't look all that great. Maybe the circle, it was just, I don't know, I want to say too round, but too perfect. It just didn't quite work. So I moved it down there in the corner thinking, well, let me try this. And that's where it ended up staying. But while I'm sort of percolating on that, I'm coming over to my letters, and you'll see that I can't spell. The most important thing is that I have the right letters at this point, because I'm going to mist these in that red mist off camera. And I do kind of figure out the spelling of the word believe. I also need a capital I, which this sheet doesn't have, so I go off and find some other letters so I can have a capital I. The rest of my title, I'll be using these thickers, these pink thickers, and those are going to show up really well on the background paper. Unfortunately, believe that I missed it in red. It's not. So it's going to have to go somewhere else, and the most logical place seemed to be there at the bottom where I already had a strip of paper that it would fit on. Now my photo, as I said, this photo is in really good shape, and I don't have a lot of photos from my childhood, so I might want to use it again. And I've scanned it, but I still may want to do something else with it. So I decided to put it on with photo corners. These are from Creative Memories, and I don't know whether you can still get them from them or not since they've changed their line, but you can find these kinds of things other places. They're just a little clear corner that goes onto your paper, and then your photo fits into it. So you can pull the photo back out and use it for something else if you want to. It's great if you have photos where there's something written on the back that you might want to be able to reference. Now my circle there still looked a little bit bare at the bottom, so I cut out a scallop circle to go behind it with the silhouette. And I feel like I need something up there in the upper left corner. I've got a brad, I'm just not quite sure about it yet, so I'll come back to that. Go ahead and put on things I know where they go, like the journaling, and I am satisfied with that red circle. I do feel like on this polka dot background is actually it's an embossed background. It has like a glittery finish to the little dots, so I'm going to have to use some little stronger adhesive for the things that rest right on it. The other things, though, can have regular adhesive. So I've left the red circle to hang off a bit, and I'm trimming it down. And while I'm putting things together, I'll tell you where the title came from. You can probably guess. When I was a little girl, some kids, told me there was no such thing as Santa. And one night I asked my mother, she was tucking me in, if there was really a Santa Claus. And she said, well, as long as you believe, there is. So I assured her that I believed. So anyway, now for the package decoration, I'm taking some white paper, just a scrap of paper, to hold together a couple of rectangles that I cut of cardstock. When you get to the point where you're tearing your paper that you don't mean to be, don't want it to look torn, you've had one of those days, and I was having one of those days. But it doesn't matter, because that little piece of white paper is just on the back. It's just to hold everything together. That's all I'm trying to accomplish here. I'm going to wrap my tape or my ribbon around it and tape that down. I got a little crooked, and I had to go back and readjust the tape. And then I'm going to take the ribbon and tie it in a bow, and I use Martha Stewart's method, which is to take 2 loops and then tie them in a knot. And she does a more detailed video of this. I think she used to have one over on her website. I assume it's probably still there. But you do, because I want a very small bow, I keep having to tighten and pull and tighten and pull. This is ribbon from, I think, the fabric department at Hobby Lobby. That's where I got this. I'm not positive, but I think that's where I got it. It's a sheer ribbon, and it works up really nicely. So I'll trim that down, and then I'll glue this on. I'm going to put the package on with dimensional adhesive and put the ribbon on with glossy accents. So it's a very easy handmade embellishments to create a little package, and then on top of the die cut and the misting, you can have a custom embellishment. Okay, here's our page all done. And what I did up here was just add a little scallop circle, and I put the adhesive way back underneath so I can still take the photo out if I wanted to. You can see some close-ups, the little package. This was glued on with glossy accents. And I was able to use this die cut from crepe paper and got the title resting down here on this border. So the sketch got quite a workout. It got flipped, and then what was the stenciled area ended up coming down to the corner. And the title moved way down here, and the journaling stayed up here. So a lot of changes from that initial sketch. But of course, that's the wonderful thing about a sketch, is it gets you going on something and kind of gives you a starting place, and then you can move with it however you want. So I do still have 2013, all of last year's sketches available as a PDF. I'll probably do that for 2014 too. I haven't decided yet. And I have a new book called No Photo, No Problem. I happen to have this photo from Christmas that talks about Santa, or that goes with the Santa story, but that's a rarity. I don't have a lot of photos from my childhood. My husband has next to none, and so we have to get creative, and that's where the book comes in. It has 10 different techniques for creating pages without photos. So I hope you'll check that out, and it's available for download over on my blog. So you get the book, and you get a 45-minute video that comes with it. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of your comments and questions and all. It's very inspirational to me. Thank you.